And in 2013, I had an asthma attack, which ultimately ended up in my early death, resuscitation, and a visit to the ICU and being put in a medicated coma, essentially. My name is Qiyam Ansari. I'm a resident of the Mon Valley. I currently live in West Mifflin, so I'm nestled right in between the Braddock plant and the Clairton Coke Works. I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience having asthma and living in the Mon Valley. I was a healthy child growing up. Played sports, was outside all the time, and so my asthma was definitely a factor. But I thought it was growing out of it. We had to move. We were living in North Versailles. We had to move to McKeesport. Moved on an inversion day, right? So the air quality was orange and red that day. Being a teenager who packed by throwing everything into trash bags and boxes without labeling things. Of course, I packed up my inhaler. We, unpacked all the boxes and I dug through and found it. It was already too late for me. I went essentially 24 hours in being exposed outside in an environment that triggered my asthma. So this was day 2. The air quality went from like orange the day before to red this day. And I got up to go to school. I told my mom, I can't breathe. She told me to stay home. I was worried. I didn't want to worry her. I'm being a tough man, didn't want to show any weakness. So I told her I was fine and she could go to work. On my way up the stairs with my bowl of cereal, I passed out because I was not getting enough blood in my brain. My brother, he missed the bus. He found me, unconscious on the floor, and he called the ambulance. From the time they had gotten me from a house to the hospital, I had actually died. So they had to resuscitate me. They shocked me. They brought me back. And from the McKeesport Hospital, I was life flighted in a helicopter to Children's. When I arrived at Children's, went immediately into a coma. My room was filled with doctors. They wouldn't let my mom in. The last thing I remember was fighting this nurse who was trying to stick this thumb-sized pill of Tylenol up my behind because I had IVs in both my arms, up here, down here, both arms, and in my legs. So there was literally no more veins for them to give me medication. And when I woke up 2 weeks later, I had to learn how to walk again. I had, trouble comprehending what people were saying. I lost, significant amount of weight. And it was a really traumatic experience for myself and, for my family. When I got out of that, experience, of course, I got a short little lesson in air quality. So I learned about, AQI and what that meant. And essentially, doctor was like, well, if it's, orange or red outside, you need to stay in the house and you shouldn't play sports. You should try not to go outside. And so that kind of really flipped my world around because before then, air quality was never something that I paid attention to as a serious threat to my asthma. I also learned that my asthma was now classified as life-threatening. And what that means is essentially I am one bad asthma attack away from dying. They were saying that, if I happen to have a really bad one, there's no guarantee that I'll be able to make it out. And I'm just really lucky to be alive. But there are hundreds of people just like me whose stories don't have such a nice, happy ending. It's never talked about. It's not in the news. There's no national outrage or outcry. And so, I just hope that I could share, this personal experience just to illustrate how important the air quality issue is, but also how deadly it is. If you're not adequately prepared to deal with the consequences of living in these highly polluted areas that we call home, like Pittsburgh. So I just, wanted to share that little bit of perspective, coming from, I guess, an asthma patient, someone who's experienced this on a daily basis. And I appreciate you, Howard, and everything that you guys are doing here for giving me the opportunity to come online and share a little bit of my personal testimony.